24 City of Huntington Woods Historic District Commission meeting. The first order of business is the approval of the September 4th, 2024 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes?
I do, which is just the spelling of my first name. So people don't think it's my doppelganger. It's, my first name is R-E-Y as opposed to E-R-Y. That's okay, lots of people do that.
Okay. Since we have our minutes taker here, we'll have that correction made. I'm sure she'll get that in the future.
Anything else? Looking for a motion on the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Well, whoop, one more thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure this is correct. It looks like there's a spelling error. There's two places. One on page 1, 2, 3. In the middle of the page where it says landscape provided it does not obscure or dram. What, I don't know what that
I
is.
don't know what that is either. I didn't catch that.
Dram?
Might have been an autocorrect also.
Yeah, I don't know what, and I can't even, I was trying to figure out what it might be, but that can't be right.
Well, if we look at what
So
they
let's check
actually
that.
wrote, let's see, landscape not obscure.
And then farther on down under electric charging stations, I'm sure where it says visually unobstructive, I think that probably should be visually unobtrusive. I'll bet you that's what it was.
Yes, it'll match the other ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I caught that on the things themselves, so. good.
Chris had mentioned that.
So other than those, with those corrections, I move that the minutes be approved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we passed our meeting minutes, so we're gonna roll right into our administrative approval changes. I think everyone received the list from Hank, and it's, I did catch that visually unobtrusive on 18 for the electric charging stations.
Yes.
That was the only comment I had. There's an extra quotation on 7 that I don't think needs to be there as well. Other than that, does anybody have anything else they want to talk about with these?
I do have one addition that I wanted, there's two things that I wanted to go over. I'll tell you why real quick, and then I don't want to belabor the point. On 6, re-roofing, I'd like to add and siding. And I want to just get a clarification on 8. So here, let me tell you why this siding. I have somebody that's going to be in front of you next month through no fault of their own. A tree branch fell and took out a front bay window with siding and windows. The windows need to be replaced. They're old wood windows, which they can't be repaired. So what they're gonna come before you with, unless you can say we can do this if we can get the same, a different material, same size and dimensions, same glazing area, that they're gonna come before you for the windows. The other thing is that they're gonna come before you for the siding, but the siding is, that you can't get it anymore. It's a pattern aluminum, and they can't get it. So I guess what I would like to do is to have some discretion for the siding, because I'm gonna make this guy wait for 45 days and pay $300 when there's nothing that he can do. You know, I mean, he's gotta be able to do that. So that's the question on 6, and on 7, a window or storm replacement with the same pattern, size, and material. I'd like to be able to put material when available.
If available.
If available. But the thing is, you can have a window custom made, but he's gonna have a problem. He's gonna come here, if you tell him custom window, he's gonna be 6 to 8 weeks out. Anyway, on top of that, he won't have a new window until after the first of the year. So I guess that's one of the concerns that I had with that. So that's up to you as far as that. Hi, Michal, how are you? You have to make it through the maze.
Yeah, of all the chords.
Thank you very much for coming.
Well, going in reverse order, I have no problem with if available regarding the window question. Going back to the siding, I think it might make sense to make that a separate item. just because it's such a, the siding raises such a different set of issues than roofing material.
I have no problem with that. Just for permits, it's usually roofing and siding are done in conjunction with each other. But he's got a shingle roof that's over that, or shingle for shingle, we always do anyway. So we can make that actually, I can slide that in and make that a separate line item, which is what your intent would be, Jeff?
I think that makes sense, because then you can talk about, because, you're talking about the material and shingle style, then you can talk about the, the exposure
And that's.
and all those other kinds of profiles. And you could just put a little bit of a descriptor on there to make it clear, and then it won't be confusing with the descriptions on the roofing, so.
If you all are good with that, then I'd like to be able to do that, if that's okay with you all.
I have no problem with that.
So how would that read then? Would it be like number 6, except where you say roofing, you're saying siding?
That's exactly what I'm.
Okay. And so you're
Again,
saying,
I was gonna use Jules if available.
okay,
Because there's just certain things we don't make anymore.
Well, reality gets in the way sometimes.
It does, and this would be something where, this way, I guess what I'm saying is I'd like to be able to call this guy and tell him that he doesn't need to come here, so. If that's the case, then we're okay. And did you have anything else, any other questions or concerns with this?
well, like material would be aluminum for aluminum or vinyl for
Well,
vinyl?
see, but aluminum's not available anymore, so here's how we rank them in the terms of that. Lowest on the list would be vinyl.
Okay,
If there was a situation where somebody wanted to put vinyl siding on it, unless it was already on the house, I wouldn't approve that administratively, I would send that to you. So if they wanted to change wood siding for, vinyl siding, you'd see that,
okay.
because I wouldn't approve that. If they wanted to change aluminum siding for like an LP siding or similar, or a hardy siding or similar, I would approve that, because in the industry, that's considered an upgrade. And even with the aluminum, as far as that, you always see the chalking on the brick and everything like that, so that would help eliminate some of that.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's in relationship to this specific instance where you would like to be able to grant a little relief to the applicant. You're saying he has an aluminum siding that has kind of like a pattern in it or something?
That's what he's indicated for that.
So
yes.
so let's say that you're given some administrative authority with the siding in this case.
Yes.
What would you approve, since, is he gonna have to reside the whole house now?
He's gonna reside the front of the house, is my understanding.
So if he came back and said, I want to have the closest matching hardy plank or cement board that I can find, and I'm going to do the entire front of the house and leave the remaining, would you feel comfortable with that administrative type of,
Yes,
and would there still be aluminum remaining on the rest of the house?
if the other sides are aluminum, then yes. And as they needed to, or he would just approve, or he would just do the whole house, that's up to him. But the area that was affected, certainly we would approve. If you wanted to do the whole front to have some consistency, and as far as how much siding was to the weather on a lap siding, then I would approve that for certain on that. But as far as making him do the whole house, I would not do that.
If he proposed something that was hardy board, and you just, your little antennas went up and you just kind of got to a little uncomfortable with the proposal, would you, does he say to you, you have to approve it because here it is in?
I don't have to approve anything, because when we go through these, and as is in there with that, when the final draft copy, when everything comes out, if you take a look at the end thing that's in the end, it says, staff reserves the right to send anything questionable to the HDC, or any decisions made by staff that the applicant feels aggrieved by can also go to the HDC. So if they don't like what I'm telling them, they're welcome to come to you. Conversely, if I don't like what they're telling me, and I'm not in sync with what they're telling me, or I don't believe that it's appropriate, then I would tell them that they can come to you.
Okay, I just didn't want to get into a situation where you kind of feel like backed in a corner having to approve something because it might technically kind of come under one of these exceptions or
I
whatever.
typically don't get backed into corners. I mean, I have a really good HDC. I'm very happy to send you whatever doesn't fit within the categories of administrative approvals. But by the same token, if there's something like, for example, with the one that would be coming up, I've got a guy that already he's been aggrieved because a tree fell on it, took out his bay window. He's got windows that he's got to order. I'm sure they're custom sizes. He's got siding he's got to deal with. He's got materials and a roof that he's got to try to fit in on this bay window. He's got a problem, so make him wait 45 days or whatever it's going to take to get him here, make him pay $300. To me, just seems a little bit excessive, and that was one of the things that we were trying to do with this, was to also kind of even the playing field, so the people in the historic district didn't have to pay more than what their fair share would be.
Well, I think I generally think it's good. I just kind of was trying to get a little feel for how
Yeah,
it practically gets played out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too, Steve, is that we have this coming forward, and that doesn't mean that we can't revisit it. I mean, you take a look at the end of the year, and, let's go through the administrative approvals.
One thing I might request that you do is that as we have meetings and you exercise some of these,
There's gonna be-
abilities, that maybe give us just a quick synopsis so we understand,
We can do that.
what's been approved, and just so we get a feel for how it's going.
And the other thing with that too is that we can get a feel for, not only that, what types of things are being approved on a regular basis. So, and that could be from meeting to meeting. It means like if we have one in January, but we don't have one until April, then you'll catch everything from January until April. If we have April and then we have another one in May, well, there may not be any, but I mean, you'll get them periodically at the meetings, because quite honestly, that won't take long.
Okay, that sounds good.
Need a motion to approve?
Well, wait a second.
No.
What we need is a consolidated, revised list, because what we have are the minutes, but all of the notes in the minutes haven't been consolidated into a new document.
Go to the end.
Yeah.
No, that's the original.
No.
That's what we
No,
saw.
this one
This
here, I
is
gave
got-
you another one.
No, this one does not incorporate,
I gave you the 9/25/24.
but that doesn't incorporate the stuff that we have in the minutes. I went through and compared them. There are a
I
number,
thought that it was pretty well consistent with what we had and what we could do. If you wanted to do something else, and you're gonna end up putting this off for another meeting.
well, so let's just take the very first one, gutter and downspout, related accessories, replacement of the same materials like concise. But if you look down in the minutes,
And we were
we
supposed
proposed,
to,
or back to original if substantiated or deemed appropriate, and that's not in there.
okay, well, I can add that to it. 'cause
Well, but I think, what I'm gonna say is that I think if you go through the minutes, you're gonna see, that's one example, but you're gonna see many instances
Okay.
where,
Because I added that to 3, I added that to 4, I added that to 7, added that to or 10, added that to 11, or similar language. The rest of it didn't need it, so I think the only one that I really didn't get that to would be number 1. 16 was match substantiated original or expansions deemed appropriate. A landscape provided not to obscure the historic structure. The electric charging stations provided they're not, and I'll change that word there. Garage replacement, porch rails are historically or architecturally appropriate. I thought that I was able to capture that, but I did miss one, and I'm happy to correct that.
I'll tell you, I would go back through with a fine tooth comb and check it, because there's just some items I just know they just didn't quite make it over. So that would be my inclination.
Well,
Could I ask
we
what
can
those-
approve it, subject to the changes you've suggested, or we
Yeah.
can
We
just
could do,
wait
yeah,
until-
that's true.
Because if you have changes other than that, just let's incorporate it, but other than that, we can approve it subject to that, because that's the only one that I see that we didn't do that with.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
And this can be fine tuned at any point in time.
You can go
as
back
we're-
to this, and this is like
Right.
an ordinance.
Along.
An ordinance
Right.
is a living, breathing document.
Right.
That could be, you can change your mind on, based on, let's say I give you a report for the next 3 months or whatever. If you don't like how it's going, you can add things or you can take things out. Whatever you want, but I wouldn't do it on a monthly basis. I would do that on a.
No, that'd be a once a year.
Yeah.
I mean, right.
I mean, we could report them and then, at the end of the year or something like that, like we'll say, okay, fine, at the November meeting every year, we'll take a look at it and then you might revise it.
Want a motion?
Up to the chair.
Chair, one motion.
Is there any other discussion before we have the motions? Anybody else have anything to say about it? Okay. I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, I move we approve the changes as set forth in the memo dated September 25th, 2024, subject to the changes that Mr. Berry has indicated with regard to the reference to siding and with regard to the concerns that the changes reflect the minutes as discussed.
I second.
Bingo.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Abstentions? I think it passes, Hank.
Thank you.
Don't have anything else, so I don't see any public participation, so we'll close that. Anything else you need from us tonight, Hank?
I don't, but I thank you all for being here. Really do appreciate it.
All right, well, I guess we can just have a motion to close the meeting, right?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.